So for the first question, simply take 277.2 multiplied by 1 over 8. Then you will know how much she spent on food, which is 34.65. And if you were to correct it to three significant figures, it should be 34.7. So out of the 277.2, she paid 15% tax. Simply multiply the 277.2 by 15%, you will get your results as 41.6. As for part 2, so this 277.2 is actually 5% more than previous week. So which means your original is your previous results is actually lesser. So original times 105% equals to 277.2. So by shifting this 105% to the other side, you get the final result as 264. Whereby for part B, number 1, the total ratio here is actually 2 plus 5 plus 4. So total will add up to 11. So 2200 multiplied by 5 over 11. This 5 here is actually the woman's ratio, and the 11 is your total ratio. So you will get a result of 1000. In section 2, this 2200 was 44 over 73 of the total. So which means your 2200 is actually a new one. So total, which is the original, multiplied by 44 over 73, you will get 2200. So by shifting 44 over 73 to the other side and divide it, you should get the results as 3650. In section 2, part A, draw an image of shape X with a reflection at the x-axis and label it as y. So I labeled y over there, and it should look something like this over here. So in section 2, from the point of origin, shape y with a 90-degree clockwise and label it as z. So as you can see, I've shown you over there. And the last part here, describe z to x. Okay, so it is actually a reflection at the line x equals to negative y. In section B, number 1, okay, scale factor of negative 1 over 2. Scale factor of 1 over 2, which means that it actually shrinken the x into half its size. So this is as shown, okay, and the center of enlargement is the origin point. So when you write down the 2 times 2 matrix, it should look 1 over 2, 0, 0, 1 over 2. Question 3, okay, keyword here is the area of the square is 1 cm more than the area of the rectangle. So their difference will actually get you 1. So area of the square is by taking x plus 5 times x plus 5. Then minus it off with 2x times x. You will get the results of 1. After the rearrangement, you should get your final results as x squared minus 10x minus 24. Question 5, okay, just factorize the equation we gotten earlier. You should get your results as bracket x minus 12 and x plus 2. Then you shift it to the other side, you will get your two results, which is x equals to 12 and x equals to negative 2. However, for length, the negative is not accepted. So the final result is supposed to be x equals to 12. So if you're wondering how did I get the x minus 12 and x plus 2, it is actually x times x is the first part, which is x squared. 12 times 2 is the 24 at the back. Okay, then I cross multiply them. I get 12x and 2x respectively. However, we are required to fulfill the center values requirement, which is having a negative 10x Hence, I put a negative at the negative 12x, and I put a plus at the 2x there. Then the negative one I put it at the top, plus I put it at the bottom, and you will get two parts of the equation, which is x minus 12 and x plus 2. Then proceed with the next question. Calculate the acute angle between the diagonals of the rectangle. Okay, so now you have to substitute the 12 into the rectangle. 2x equals to 24 and x equals to 12. Okay, then you are required to run the calculation. Okay, do take note that since it's twice the size, if let's say the side that has the opposite value of 12 is x, the other angle will be 2x. So I calculate both of them. Okay, it is actually 26.56505.118. If we were to multiply it by 2, then you will get the results as 53.13. Question 6 here, to calculate the angle of BAC, I'm using cosine rule because I have the value of all three sides already. So by substituting the value into the respective space, you will get the results as 78.6. As for the next part, M is a midpoint of BC. So using the circle theorem, angle at the center is twice the value of angle at the circumference. Then my angle at the center there, which is BOC, will be 157.2, and by splitting it into half, you will get 78.6. As for next part, with this 78.6, okay, calculate the radius of the circle and show that it is rounded to 4.59. So based on the angle that we have, which is 78.6, the 4.5, which is the midpoint of BC, okay, which is 9 divided by 2, okay, that will be your opposite of 78.6, and the radius of this circle is actually your hypotenuse. So by using sine, 78.6 equals to opposite over hypotenuse. By shifting and run your calculation, you will get your final results as 4.59 after correcting it to three significant figures. Calculate the area of the triangle as a percentage of the area of the circles. Okay, area of the circle is actually pi times r squared. So we have pi times 4.59 squared. You will get 66.187,388.19. Whereby for area of the triangle, which is half, A is 8, your B is 6, times sine 78.6. Okay, so you get your final results as 23.526,50819. To calculate the results, simply takes area of ABC, divide by area of the circle, multiply it by 100. You will get 35.5% as your final result. For question 8, simply substitute -3, -2, -1, 1, 2, and 3 into the function x position. You will get the respective results as 9.91, 4.25, 2, followed by 2, 4.25, 9.91. So the results should be as shown as here, after you drawing it out. So for you to draw the tangent of the graph, y equals to fx, where x equals to -1.5. So this one, when x equals to -1.5, you have a coordinate of -1.5, 2.69. And the other point that after I draw out, I obtain another coordinate, which is negative 0.4 with 0. By substituting this into the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, you will get your results as negative 2.45. For section 3, they gave you x squared plus 1 over x squared equals to 3. So this x squared plus 1 over x squared is actually your original formula. So you will have y equals to 3. So when y equals to 3, you have the results of negative 1.65, negative 0.6, 0.6 and 1.65. So section 4 is actually similar to what we did earlier, simply by changing the equation into y equals to 2x. So when y equals to 2x, I set up two random points. Okay, so I set when x equals to 1 and x equals to 2, I get the respective y results as 2 and 4. Then I proceed with drawing a line out, and the two intersection is actually 1 and 1.85. As for question 6, okay, finding the median. So there's 200 of them, 200 multiplied by 50%, you will get 100 tiered. So from 100, you trace it back, you will get your median as 5.8 kg. For lower quartile, simply takes 200 times 25%, you get 50. Okay, so 50th, you trace it back, it is actually 4.6. Whereby for interquartile range, since you already obtained the lower quartile, now you have to find the upper quartile. The upper quartile is by taking 200 times 75%, which is 150th. 150th is 7, so 7 minus 4.6, you will get the results as 2.4. For part number 4, the numbers of parcel with mass greater than 3.5. So from 3.5, I trace it back, it's actually 28 parcel. Okay, so you take 200 minus 28, you will get your results as 172 parcel with mass greater than 3.5 kg. For question part B, to find your frequency count, okay, using the graph that we have earlier, when it's 6, the result is actually 110. When it is 4, your result is 36. So 110 minus 36, you will get your frequency as 74. Whereby for when it is 7, your result is actually 150. So 150 minus 110, you will get 40. So this is how you fill up the frequency. Whereby for you to calculate the mean, you need to find the midpoint of the interval, which results in 2, 5, 6.5 and 8.5. What I did there was to take 0 plus 4 divided by 2, you will get 2. And I repeat the same step for the rest. So now that you have the midpoint, you can proceed with the calculation by taking the midpoint, multiply the frequency, add them all up, divide by 200. You get your final result as 5.64. As for the next part, okay, frequency density is actually by taking your frequency count divided by your class interval. So you're required to run calculation on results that was given to you, okay, because you want to double check that is there scale factor involvement in this question. So in our case, by taking 36 divided by your class interval, which is 4 minus 0, you will get your frequency density as 9. So this proves that there's no scale factor involvement. Then you can proceed with the remaining calculation by taking 74 divided by 2 and 40 divided by 1. So after you plot it out, it should look something like this. As for question 7, okay, I draw down the tree diagram based on what was given. So for a seed, okay, to produce flower, it's 7 over 10. With no flower, it will be 3 over 10. So out of this 7 over 10, 2 over 3 of them turn out to be red, 1 over 4 turn out to be yellow, and 1 over 12 turn out to be orange. So find the probability that it will not produce a yellow flower. So simply takes 1, which is the total probability, minus those who produce yellow flower, which is 7 over 10 times 1 over 4. You will get a result as 33 over 40. For section C, for 120 plants, so first you need to identify the probability of getting an orange plant, which is 7 over 10 times 1 over 12. Then multiply these results by 120. You will get your final results as 7. As for question 8, okay, draw a perpendicular bisector of AB. Okay, you can see the two arcs that I drawn. Make sure your compass is more than half. Then you can now identify the perpendicular bisector of AB line here. Okay, locus of point, which is equal distance from AB and BC. The part that's repeating is the angle B. So basically you're required to split ABC into half. So first I touches both BC's line and AC's line using the same distance on the compass. Then from the point of intersection, I use the same length to draw another one. Okay, where the arc intersect, we'll basically split the angle BAC into half. So now that you have a cross at the center of the quadrilateral, you can now proceed with the next question. Label Q on the diagram and measure the Q to AB line. So Q is the intersection as shown over there, and the distance is 2.65. However, these results might differ from the one you have in marking scheme because of the scale that I'm printing this paper. So your answer may differ from mine. Okay, if you're following the exact scale of the printing, you will get different results as shown in the marking scheme. So shading the part that has 6 cm from D. So now from D, you need to use a compass to measure 6 cm and draw the arc over there. So less than that, which means anything within the arc is considered. Nearer to A than to B, so using the perpendicular bisector, you know it is at the left hand side now. And nearer to AB than to BC, which means that it is referring to the part at the left hand corner. Okay, so as shown as above. Question 14, pretty straightforward. This is actually function question. Okay, first thing that I did in GF bracket 2 is to substitute 2 into functions f x position. So you see me doing that. 3 bracket 2 plus 1, I get a result of 7. Then I substitute this g bracket 7. Okay, 7 will now replace the x in the function. So you will get bracket 7 plus 2 bracket square. The final result should turn out to be 81. So the next part, f times f bracket 0.5. So you will have 3 times 0.5 plus 1. You will get function 2.5. So this 2.5 here is to be substituted to function f again. You will get 3 bracket 2.5 plus 1, which is 8.5. To calculate the inverse, okay, there's actually a 3-step formula to follow. First, I copy down the original function f. I change function f bracket x into y. I swap x and y's position. I rearrange it to identify your new y. So your function inverse here will be x minus 1 over 3. As for section C, your gx is now changed. Okay, I substitute x plus 2 bracket square into gx. Okay, so now you have f bracket x plus 2 bracket square. So this x plus 2 bracket square is now your new x in your function f. So if we have 3 bracket x plus 2 bracket square plus 1, expand it and you get your final results as 3x squared plus 12x plus 13. As for section D, okay, you will get x squared plus 3x plus 1. So A here is 1, B here is 3, and C is 1. by using the quadratic formula. Okay, some of you may ask, when should I use quadratic formula? Whenever you notice they mention about 2 decimal place or how many decimal place they wanted, it's usually to be solved using quadratic. Okay, substitute into the formula negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. You will get the respective results as negative 0.38 or negative 2.62. Question 10. Okay, ABCD is a parallelogram. So from this statement, you should know that AB equals to DC. Okay, and AD equals to BC. Okay, with that being said, L and M is their respective midpoint. So DL will now be half P, LC will be half P, BM will be half Q, and MC will be half Q. So do label down the direction it is referring to, else you might encounter mistake during the solving process. So for you to obtain AC in section 1, simply by taking AB plus BC, it will be P plus Q. So results P plus Q. For L to M, so based on the direction, I will go with LC plus CM. Okay, so LC here is actually half of P, and CM will be negative half Q. So your final results, half P minus half Q. Wherever for AN, okay, N is actually the midpoint of the line LM. Okay, so we have to get to AN, we will go through AD plus DL plus LN. AD and DL we already have it, which is Q and half P. For LN is actually half of LM. So half bracket the results that we have in section B. After the calculation, you should get 3 over 4P plus 3 over 4Q as your final results. As for section 2, explain why your answer in AN shows that point N lies on line AC. Okay, reason being, you have to mention about line AN and AC is parallel. AC equals to 3 over 4 of AN. That's the keyword. Simply by taking your section 1, A and C and compare it to each other. One is P plus Q, the other one is 3 over 4 bracket P plus Q. In section B, okay, find the value of x. So do take note that FEG is actually a triangle, hence the total interior angle will add up into 180. Okay, by running the calculation, you should get your x results as 30. Whereby for HJG, HJE and FGE is the same. So if you know that the HJE's value is actually 30 plus 15, which is 45, which means that HJG will be 180 minus 45. Reason being, EJH is a straight line. So you will get your final results as 135. As for question 11, part A, number 1, write down the sum of first 4 positive integers, which is by taking 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, which is 10. In section 2, things to take note is that the first n, okay, so show the formula is correct to n equals to 3. Okay, in section 2, the keyword here is sum. Okay, so based on the question, we have the sum of 1 and 2 and 3, okay, equals to 6. So n bracket n plus 1 over 2 equals to 6. When you run the calculation, you should get your results as n equals to 3. However, n minus 4 here is invalid because you cannot represent sequence in negative form. Section 3, sum of the first 120 positive integer by taking 120 bracket 120 plus 1 over 2, you should get your results as 7,260. Find the sum of the first n integers. So 200 bracket 200 plus 1 over 2 minus 7,260, you should get your results as 12,840. In section 4, how did I know it is 200? It is actually from part A number 1, because 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals to 6. So I took my n as 3 over there, which is the last thing that we add. So 200 bracket 200 plus 1 over 2, then minus it off with 7,260, you get your answer as 12,840. Okay, because they wanted from 121 to 200 only, so you have to minus out the first 120. Okay, whereby for part 4, 2 plus 4 plus 6 and then to 800. So things to take note is that it is actually multiple of 2 from the original equation. So I know that 2 bracket n plus 1 over 2. So after I rearrange it, okay, my n should be 400. So 400 bracket 400 plus 1, you get the results as 160,400. As for section B, okay, I simply just fill up the blank. The first column should be 36, 6, 110. Find the sum of the first 14 cubes. So n bracket n plus 1 over 2 should be 105. So this is proof. So section 3, using from part 2, you're required to find your sum of first n cubes. Okay. So basically the entire equation was now being cubed. You get your results as n bracket n plus 1 over 2 bracket square. So for the first 60 cubes, then you will get 60 plus 60 multiplied by 61 over 2 and then square it, which is 3,348,900. So for you to find n cubes, when your result is 278,784, okay, I first get rid of the square by putting a square root onto 278,784. You get it as 528. Okay, run your calculation, you should get n squared plus n minus 1056. Factorize it, you should get n equals to 32 or n equals to negative 33. However, the negative part is not being considered because you cannot represent your sequence answer in negative. So your final result should be 32. This is pretty much it for this paper. I hope you find it helpful. Do share to your friends that are struggling, and I wish you all the best in your upcoming examination. Thank you.